For the Love of Rugby, brought to you by Blackheart. For those who ruck, maul, and never back down. Now, it's a fallow week, and we've decided, after 3 rounds, Coley, we're going to do something, well, a bit Lionsy.
We're going to stick the players into tiers.
We're going to put them into tiers.
It's a fun activity, apparently, that we're going to do, where we're going to put players into tiers, and from that, we'll then pick our squad of 41 players for Australia.
Yes. To highlight, this is right now.
Yes.
And we just wanted to do something fun, and we thought, do you know what? How do the listeners and everyone who watched on YouTube get involved? Well, we thought this is a great activity to do so. So let's start with the categories, Coley.
We've got some tiers of players. I think as we keep it on a flight theme, because they've got a flight to Australia, probably 2, we'll have 3 tiers. We'll have on the plane, which we think are players that are guaranteed to go today. We'll have in the departure lounge, so guys that are probably, I don't know, second, third choice, but people that we think are going to go, but
Not
question, 100% sure. And then we'll have a third tier of like stuck at security, where guys that are outside bets. And we might be able to include, like, we might give a fast track pass to say some of those players that might be bolters for the squad. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that. Let's have a fast track lane as well, just for a couple of late bolters.
Yeah, and that bolters, they might skip ahead of the people in the departure lounge, but they might go straight through security onto the plane as a bolter.
Lions tends to have a couple of late bolters.
That's what I mean.
And so I like that category. So we've got 4 categories: on the plane, in the departure lounge, stuck at security, and we've got the fast track lane, which is the bolters. And we thought we'd do a great little involvement, really, with listeners and people watching on YouTube, so you can get involved. So we've kind of done it on the back of people that have been involved in the first 3 rounds, Six Nations, but it's broader than that. It's people that are also injured currently. Yeah. We've got people that obviously can't play international rugby.
Well, we can't go through every player in the British and Irish Isles, so we've sort of limited it down.
We have, and we're going to pick 41.
Right,
let's start at Loosehead then, Coley.
Yes.
Which is obviously your front row. This is your expertise. So we've got guys like Ellis Genge, Andrew Porter, Pierre Schumann. We've got Nicky Smith.
Yeah, I think rapid fire, Ellis Genge and Andrew Porter are on the plane. Porter has been outstanding for Ireland. He's one of the best players. And Genge has been outstanding for England, especially that England-Scotland game. I thought he was brilliant defensively, carrying scrum-wise. So those 2 are pretty much guaranteed, I would say.
So they're on the plane.
Departure lounge, I would say it's before the tournament would have been Schumann. I think Nicky Smith's been outstanding in his, came off the bench first 2 games. He scrummaged really well, started against Ireland at the weekend, 1 scrum penalties. So yeah, he's probably accelerated into that spot. And from there, and then, that's how I'd rank them. I think a fast track through security ban, I'm going to use one of my fast track passes, might be Finn Baxter. As an outside bolter, I think, he's come off the bench, scored. I think he's a really good player with a massive future. Lions like a bolter. I think he could be one of them where it's almost like he could skip from straight past the departure lounge onto the plane. Fast
track in Australia, everything like that.
Yep.
One of these guys maybe picks up a niggle before the end of the season.
Yep.
You're right, we've seen it happen. We've seen teams be announced.
Yep.
And then someone gets unfortunately injured before the end of the season, before the tour, and someone comes in. So I like it. You've already got a little fast track person in there with Finn Baxter. You've gone for, on the plane, Ellis Genge, Andrew Porter. In the departure lounge, currently you've got Nicky Smith and Pierre Schumann. So on to hooker, Coley. So again, I'll read out some names here. So you got Jamie George, Luke Cowan-Dickey. You got Dan Sheehan. You got Ronan Kelleher. You got Dowie Lake, of course, as well, from Wales, injured currently.
Yeah, I think, right, hooker's quite tough. And I think Dan Sheehan is probably on the plane. Captained Ireland at the weekend, he's probably there. After that, it's quite hard. I think Kelleher probably is on the plane due to the fact he started the first couple of games. I know he was, injured at the weekend, but he's proven for Ireland and Leinster. But then I'm also, I'll put him on the plane. I'll put him on the plane. Then that third slot, Jamie George has been brilliant off the bench, proven line, 2 tours. Cowan-Dickey started for Lions last tour. He's been brilliant. Dowie Lake he'd probably be again, I'm using all fast track passes here, but Lake might be my fast track pass because he hasn't played. He's been injured, but in the autumn he was really good. But then he might be your bolter to basically skip ahead of everyone in that second tier.
you're right. You could see him being a bolter. Hooker is an incredibly competitive position, isn't it? When you start listing out those names. But you've gone for, on the plane, Sheehan, Kelleher, and then in the departure lounge, Jamie George, Luke Cowan-Dickie, both obviously Lions before, and Dowie Lake in the fast track, injured currently, but was big for Wales in the autumn.
Yeah. And so you've also had like people like Dave Cherry who's played really well, but
Dave Cherry, of course,
in a bit below. Even like people like Theo Dan would once upon a time was an outside bet. I know he hasn't sort of featured in rounds 2 and 3, but there's a lot of hookers, there's a lot of quality depth.
There's a serious amount of depth there. So there we are. Right, Tighthead. This is your absolute bread and butter, Coley. So when we look at Tighthead, we've got Will Stewart. We have Tyg Furlong, currently injured. We have Finlay Bealham. Xander Fagerson, obviously went on the last tour as well from Scotland. Wales. Will Griff John. There's a mate, that might be another late bowler.
Yeah.
Did an absolute job in round 3. Who are you picking out of that lot? Where you put, who's on the plane?
So what? Again, this is hard because
I don't think anyone's nailing it in that position.
That's what
everyone's solid.
You could easily pick, I would say, Will Stewart, Bealham, and Fagerson as they're the 3 guys that have started the tests, right? But I don't think the problem, not problem, but then you have Tyg Furlong, who has a great history with the Lions, with Ireland, but hasn't played that much recently. He's currently injured. And will he have played enough quality rugby to guarantee a spot on the tour? I don't know.
He missed the autumn, didn't he?
Missed the autumn, that's what I say. And then with injury records and stuff, can you potentially take someone who's going to be, do you want to take that risk? I know you can call someone out, but then do you want to take a player out that might miss a couple of weeks in the tour, which then puts pressure on the other positions? You know what I mean? Like it's a tough thing to pick. So there's like those 4 guys. And of course, Will Griff John, the bolter, who played exceptionally well against Ireland at the weekend in the round 3 of the tournament. He's probably in the tier below, but then, he played really well. And you can sort of, Tighthead's really hard because it's like
incredibly hard.
I don't think anyone is.
Is anyone on the plane, or is
I'll
everyone
partly say
in the
Finlay
departure
Bealham.
lounge?
Part of me wants to say Finlay Bealham's on the plane because I think he has versatility. But then I'm kind of like, if you take Tyg Furlong, do you take Bealham? Because then you miss out on Fagerson, who's been on the Lions tour before and played well for Scotland. But then Fagerson, I think, like after England, Scotland, I'm kind of like, he gave away a couple of scrum penalties. Genji got stuck into him. Like he's maybe, once upon a time he was guaranteed, but then he might have slipped a bit. So it's all to play for in that Tighthead berth. I don't know. It really is. I think all of them are in the sort of like I'd say the top 4 are in the departure lounge, and then Will Griff John sort of maybe slightly, he's going through security, say. Yeah,
I like that. So you're right. We can't guarantee it. We can't just shove them on the plane, Coley. I think that Tighthead position, as you say, it's between sort of everyone's still yet to kind of be an absolute shoe-in. Right, on to the locks. So again, this position is so competitive.
It's stacked.
And they'll probably take 5 on tour, I'd say, in total.
Right. I'm gonna throw out some names. Right. On the plane, Maritoji.
On the plane,
he's on
Maritoji.
the plane.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I think Tyg Byrne is also on the plane.
Tyg Byrne is 100% on the plane because he can also play 6.
Correct. I think
Joe McCarthy's on the plane, and he hasn't played.
McCarthy is on the bench. Not on the bench. He's on the plane, yes.
I agree. He's on the plane.
I think McCarthy is on the plane. So there's 3. Normally they take 5 in a squad with some positional versatility. Departure lounge.
Where'd you put James Ryan?
I think
he was unlucky on.
I think he's top
tour.
of the departure lounge. I think in terms of like a quality player, hasn't started for Ireland, but kind of is in that squad mix. I'd say he is, in some regards, number 4.
He goes about his business though, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's a great player.
Do you know what I mean? As in, he doesn't get the plaudits, let's say, of Tyg Byrne and Joe McCarthy.
But then I kind of think I think in that thing as well is probably Ollie Chesham, George Martin are in that departure lounge because I think they've been brilliant. I say George picked up a knock, so missed that 3rd game. But, the physicality he brings, there's not many that can do it. But then against Australia, are you going to play that game? I don't know.
What about like Johnny Gray, Gilchrist?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they've been really good as well. That's what I mean. Like they're sort of, there's that whole bunch. Even like Will Rowlands played really well the weekend, and Daffy Jenkins. Like there's
gets through a lot of work.
Yeah, Ian Henderson. Like there's a lot in that sort of
I tell you what, who's picking that position? Like,
Yeah.
who's the forwards coach going on lines? That's a headache. We need your help, listeners. So, let us know what you think. Comment below if you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because that is a very difficult. So we put because it's so hard, you put everyone else in the departure lounge, couldn't you? But essentially on the plane that we believe guaranteed is Maro Itoje, Tyg Burn and Joe McCarthy.
Yes.
In terms of in the departure lounge, we've gone with James Ryan, Ollie Chesham, George Martin. And then stuck at security, we've got Gray, Gilchrist and Rowlands.
I think lock, there's some real tough choices. In some regards, it's really tough. But sometimes it's really easy because you're getting 5 great players out of that list. Like, you could pick anyone and they're all really good. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't think there's any bad players on that list of locks, and that's what makes it so hard in some regards. But then it's good because you're getting quality players.
And now we move on to the back row and you start to realise that there's going to be some really good players that are going to be left stuck in security. But It doesn't mean that they're not good. So let's start with blindside flankers. So we've got Chandler Cunningham South, we've got Ted Hill, we've got Ben Curry, we've got Courtney Laws, of course, playing abroad currently. Peter O'Mahony, you've got Ryan Beard, you've got Jamie Ritchie, who was impressive against England at the breakdown work. You've obviously got Tyg Burn, what you mentioned, can play 6. Ollie Chesham could play 6 as well, if they decide to go for that type of flanker. You've got Tommy Raffel that can play 6. Wainwright, like, in total, the back row numbers, I think that they probably need to take is 8 in total.
Yeah.
So remember, we've still got 7s and 8s to pick. So how many 6s should we pick?
Right. I'm thinking we're going to take 2 8s, which means we can take 3 6s and
3 7s.
3 7s.
Right, let's pick 3 6s then.
Oh, it's so hard, Ben. Right, can I start number 8?
You want to start number 8?
Can I go Conan and Doris? I'm going to stick those 2 at number 8, right? Because that means then I've got 6 spots, the rest of them.
Okay, so
those 2 are on the plane. Number
those
8,
2 are on the plane. Yeah. Number 8 covered. I agree with you. Those two are definitely on the plane. And I actually think Doris, I think Doris will be captain as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you unfortunately missed out on like Falatau and Willis, but I think those 2 are your number 8s. I think, right, other picks, open side.
Oh, what about Falatau at 6 though?
Yeah, well, this might be a bit of versatility. I think, right, open side, I'm going on the plane. I think you have at open side, Tom Curry goes, guaranteed, and Van der Fleer, I'd say, are my 2 there, right? I'm just trying to do it this way. It makes it a bit easier on my own mind. And then blindside, I would say, who is guaranteed? I would say Ryan Bard is probably on the plane, right?
Okay.
Which then leaves me in the departure lounge. At 6/1st, I'm looking at versatility across the back row. I reckon Ben Curry is probably in the departure lounge along with Jamie Ritchie. They're probably both 6s, 7s. I think they've been outstanding in the roles they've played so far.
You putting Peter O'Mahony in the departure lounge? Or you think he's just going to miss out?
I think he might just miss out.
It's a big call, that.
Part of me thinks him as like a fast track. See, part of me wants him and Courtney Laws to be like fast tracked to sort of like potentially, because Courtney Laws just coming off the top rope from not out of nowhere, but it's got a great history, great player. But again, once you played enough high level stuff and you've got so many quality players that you can pick from, it's quite a tough one to do. Open side, departure lounge, I'll make Tommy Raffel. I think he's been brilliant. I know he hasn't started every game, but I think he's there. I think Jack Morgan is also, I probably put Jack Morgan, on the plane.
Putting Jack Morgan on the plane?
Yeah, probably, because he played 6 for Wales, and so he's 6'7", so Jack Morgan.
He's been very good, as has Tommy Raffel. They're both that Welsh. And
Raffel's an out-and-out 7. He's kind of an out-and-out 7, which Van der Fleer is also kind of an out-and-out 7, which I'm not saying is a problem, but you don't really want to take 3 out-and-out 7s, I would say, on your tour. You need versatility, because you might, and Curry can cover 6, 7, 8. His brother can cover 6 and 7. I think Morgan covers, you know what I mean, 6, 7. So therefore, that's what I'm kind of like looking at. I think Darge is probably in the departure lounge. But again, positional versatility.
I think Darge was very impressive Italy game.
Yeah.
I think in the autumn he was very impressive.
Yeah.
Our last 2 rounds, I haven't seen him as much as I've seen other 7s.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm honest.
Fine. And then, like, again, departure lounge, potentially have Falatau Wainwright, because I think they have positional versatility and can come in and cover and Faletau's got the experience and, has won on Lions tours and knows the kind of that stuff. And so it's tough.
I've got one fast track for you.
Yeah.
And that's Jack Willis. Playing his rugby in Toulouse.
Yeah.
Now, this is unbelievably competitive position, the 7 is. But in terms of actual jackling, like fewer better. And if Toulouse get on a cup run, and in the European Cup, which I suspect they will do, when the ground start to harden up, he plays in hard ground.
My only thing would be...
But you'd look at him, he could be a late bolter, like we're born out of nowhere. It's like,
My only thing would be with when does the French season finish?
Well, that is...
Because normally it finishes halfway through the Lions tour, so it would be a bit of an issue. But, that's... you know what, Ben? I haven't enjoyed that. Because there's so many great players, and there's 2, so...
Should we just in case the listeners got a little bit lost there, let's just confirm who we said is on the plane, that we believe. Yeah. So we've gone Jack Conan, we've gone Caelan Doris, we've gone Tom Curry, Josh van der Fleer, and Jack Morgan.
Yes.
And we put Ryan Baird as blindside flanker. Then in Departure Lounge, so all the possibility of going, but Ben Curry, Jamie Ritchie, then you got Tommy Raphael, Roy Darge, you got Faletau, Wainwright, with Jack Willis as a little bit of a fast track bolter, Peter Marnie and Courtney Law's also in that category. So
your turn, Ben.
Yeah, onto the backs.
Scrum-half. Right, shortlist. We have Alex Mitchell, Jameson Gibson Park, Conor Murray, Ben White, and Thomas Williams.
On the plane, Coley, Gibson Park.
Yeah, I think that's nailed on.
Yeah, that's a nailed on and test starter. So he's straight in. I would say Thomas Williams, I believe, is on the plane.
Yep.
They'll take 3 9s. Thomas Williams is on the plane. I'd say in the Departure Lounge is Alex Mitchell, Conor Murray, who comes on back end of games, like knows the Ireland system, the Farrell way of playing. I think him and Alex Mitchell are definitely in the Departure Lounge. I would say that leaves Ben White in stuck at security.
Right, so on the plane you got Gibson Park and Thomas Williams. In the Departure Lounge you got Alex Mitchell, Conor Murray, and at security you have Ben White.
Indeed.
I'm surprised you don't have Ben White higher because I think he's played well. He starts with Scotland's played well.
He does, and I do just think though for that 3rd slot, it's between Alex Mitchell and Conor Murray.
Well, yeah, I was saying.
But then fast track, yeah, you're right.
Because I just think like that 3rd player might be a midweek specialist. So like a Conor Murray who can come out and close the game off. Like he's almost like a test player, or maybe is he a midweek? You know what I mean?
That's Thomas Williams could be the midweek guy, just running around playing 60, 70 minutes. It's tough. So that's what I'm going with. Right, fly half.
Right, we have a short list of the England boys: Marcus Smith, Finn Smith. We'll go Ireland, Prendergast, Sam Prendergast. Scotland, you've got Finn Russell and Tom Jordan. He's probably positional versatility. And Wales, you've got Gareth Anscombe. So how are you ranking them? Because also, I know it's fly halves, but sometimes you have a fly half. You don't take 3 pure fly halves. You sort of take, we could have the outside of Owen Farrell as well. We'll stick in there.
So this is difficult. And, you could take 3 with the idea that one can cover a position. And obviously Marcus is covering fullback and can do it. Although I'd still like to see him play 10. So on the plane, Finn Russell. So we haven't seen peak Finn during the Six Nations tournament as of yet, but there's no doubt about it that when he brings it, he's on the plane. So Finn Russell definitely goes. Then I think the more I watch Prendergast, the more I'm like, this guy is going on the plane. And then I think in the Departure Lounge is Marcus Smith. And I think the reason I think he will go, but he hasn't had many shots at playing 10. And that's probably the thing that puts him into the Departure Lounge. Had he been playing regularly at 10, I think he's probably on the plane. I think he still probably goes, to be honest with you, because he can cover fullback. And I think that he does. So he's in the Departure Lounge. I think a fast track, sort of late bolter, could be the Finn Smith. And the other one I'd put into that category is Owen Farrell. Playing his rugby abroad, had an injury, hasn't played much rugby, but let's be honest, if he gets himself right and you're in a test arena, that's someone you want in there. So that's what I'm seeing, Coley, out of the fives.
Right. So we have Finn Russell and Sam Prendergast on the plane. In the Departure Lounge, Marcus Smith and you're fast-tracking Finn Smith and Owen Farrell. Centres. Normally take 6. England, sort of consistency being Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slade. Ireland have used Bundy Aki, Robbie Henshaw, Gary Ringrose. Scotland of Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones. Yeah, and from Wales, we'll say, off the top of my head, Tompkins and Llewellyn.
Okay, and we've got 6 slots here.
Yes.
So on the plane, I'm going Bundy Aki, and I'm going Sione Tuipulotu. Now, he's injured, and I think it's a bit of a race against the clock for him to be fit, but he's too good to not take.
Yep.
So I think he's on the plane, if he's fit in time. At 13s, I'm thinking like Gary Ringrose, like knows the Irish system, like just sort of like that glue that holds it together. Doesn't always get like, I don't know, maybe like the recognition. Well, he does, but he doesn't, do you know?
Yeah.
And I think Gary Ringrose goes on the plane. Then I'm going to put in the departure lounge. I think Robbie Henshaw's in the departure lounge. I'd say Ollie Lawrence is in the departure lounge. I'd actually say I'd say Hugh Jones is on the plane, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say
Hugh
that.
Jones is on the plane. Yeah, so if there's 6 slots, we've got Bundy Aki on the plane, we've got Gary Ringrose on the plane, we've got Hugh Jones on the plane, we've got Sione Tuipulotu, if he's fit, which hopefully he will be, he'll be on the plane, which leaves in the departure lounge Robbie Henshaw, Ollie Lawrence.
That's your sort of 6.
And that's my sort of 6, really.
Yep.
I think stuck in security is players like your Henry Slades, your Tompkins, your Max Llewellyns. Like they've got work to do between now and when that tour happens.
Yep. Right. Then we'll go to back 3. So traditionally, we'll say for our squad, we're going to pick 7. If you look at Ireland, they're sort of fairly consistent. Matt Hansen, James Lowe, Hugo Keenan. Scotland of Darcy Graham, Duan van der Merwe, Blair Kinghorn. Wales got Josh Adams, Liam Williams. England have played Freeman, Elliot Daly, Freddie Stewart, Furbank, Feo Boso, Slightholme. So what would be how would you break up your back? You've got 7 slots. How would you break up your back 3 between wing and fullback? And
so the out-and-out fullback that goes is Hugo Keenan.
Yep. So he's on the plane.
He's on the plane. Right. Blair Kinghorn can obviously play wing and fullback and can play 10. And that's an interesting little thing about him.
So are you putting him positional versatility? Or are you putting him on the plane?
Positional versatility, I'm putting him on the plane.
He plays in France.
But he plays in France, so season finishes later. You also, if you're going to take Marcus Smith, he can obviously cover fullback. Yeah. So this is a bit of a difficult one. But
is he on the plane? Blair Kinghorn?
I'm putting him on the plane.
Okay.
I am. I'm putting him on the plane. Which then leaves me with 5 wingers to pick.
Yes.
And I would say on the plane is your James Lowe.
Yep.
I would say also on the plane with James Lowe. I honestly think, although he's been injured and he's out, I'd say Manny Feo-Abosu is honestly on the plane.
Would you?
I would. I just think that he's electric when he gets the ball, and I think he was outstanding in the autumn. I just think that he's on the plane. I do.
So I almost put Freeman ahead of him because I think Freeman's been outstanding for...
Freeman has, but I don't know what it is. I feel like Manny just has a little bit more X factor.
Would he be your fast track?
Maybe he would be my fast track. Let's put Manny Feo-Abosu as my fast track.
Because we don't know his injury situation, etc.
He's on his shoulder, isn't he? I'd say Matt Hansen is on the plane.
Okay. So we've got James Lowe, Matt Hansen, Hugo Keenan and Blair Kinghorn.
I'd also say that I'd say Dewey van der Merwe's on the plane as well. Which then leaves me in the departure lounge of Darcy Graham, who's a great broken field runner.
Yes.
Tommy Freeman. And I think he is consistently forcing his way into on the plane.
Yes.
But he's one of those guys where I won't be surprised at all if his name's read out.
Yeah.
But I would be totally surprised if it isn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's such a competitive position. I just feel like those others are probably shoo-ins. And that's probably where I'd leave it. You've got your Liam Williams and your Josh Adams. I think they're probably stuck in security. And I'm going to leave it with Manny Feo-Abosu as my absolute fast-track late bolter, potentially going. So, in short, on the plane, I've got James Lowe, Matt Hansen, Dewey van der Merwe. I've got Hugo Keenan and Blair Kinghorn. And then stuck in departure lounge that could easily be going Tommy Freeman and Darcy Graham with Manny Feo-Abosu as my fast-track late bowler.
Right, so you're kind of missing a George Furbank and a Freddie Stewart and also Elliot Daly from your list, who's been on previous Lions tours.
I am missing George and Freddie, and the reasons is, and I said at the beginning, is they're out and out fullbacks. George Furbank can cover a bit of 10, but he can't cover wing. So therefore, that's my point with Blair Kinghorn. He can play fullback, wing, and play 10. And I think that's where he goes. I think Hugo Keenan is your out and out fullback that goes. I think Freddie isn't a winger; he's a fullback. So I think Keenan goes ahead of that. So that's why those two. Elliot Daly is that versatility guy, and he can play a number of positions. I just think with the wingers that are available, I don't see himself forcing himself in there. So that's what I'm going with, Coley. Right, Coley. So we've named 26 players that are on the plane.
Yes.
We said at the beginning that we can take 41.
Yes.
So now we need to add 15 players. Right, so now let's name our squad.
Yes.
Of 41. We've got 26 currently that we've said on the plane. Now we've got to name 41. So there's a good few in the departure lounge. There's a good few fast tracks. So let's start at Loosehead. So we've got Ellis Genge, Andrew Porter, and then who you bringing in as a third?
I am going to go Nicky Smith based on his recent Welsh performances.
Nicky Smith it is. So Genge, Porter, Smith. On to hooker. We've got Sheehan and we've got Kelleher. In the departure lounge, you've got Jamie George, Luke Cowan-Dickey, and you've got a fast track of Dowie Lake. Who are we bringing in as the third?
This is tough. Looking at that list, I think Dowie Lake is probably an injury outside. Yeah, because in playing the Six Nations, I think the Six Nations is big for that Lions tour. So I'm going to go Jamie George based on his prior experience, his leadership abilities, and his efforts off the bench. I think he will fill that role. So Jamie George.
So George, Kelleher, and Sheehan. Right, Tighthead. We had no one on the plane. So now are we just going to leave that one blank?
Well, we've got to pick three, and I'm going to go. Well, I'm going to go for the three guys that started in the tournament. Obviously, Furlong has the experience, but again, we don't know where he is injury-wise. If we're picking the squad today, which is what we're doing today, I'll go Will Stewart, Finlay Bealham, and Xander Fagerson. Right,
Xander, Bealham, and Stewart. Then on to locks. So currently got Marrow, we've got Byrne, we've got McCarthy, and that's what we've got, and we need two more.
Right, I am going to put in that list. I'm going to stick... Oh, it's so hard. Because part of me wants to put James Ryan in there. And then... Yeah, so maybe...
I would go Ollie Chesham, James Ryan.
Yeah, but what you see here is what I might do.
Is you're going to move someone over to blindside?
Possibly. So I'm going to stick all three of those on there. I'm going to stick, it's my squad. I'm going to stick James Ryan, Ollie Chesham, and George Martin are going to go shift up, and they're going to be going. So I'm going to take 6 locks, but one of those locks, Tyburn, and also Ollie Chesham and George Martin have positional versatility to cover 6, which means that I don't have to make a decision on the back row. So I've copped out, absolute cop out, but I've currently got 6 players to the back row. Originally, we wanted 5 locks and 8 back rowers. I'm picking 6 locks, so we need 7 back rowers. I currently have 6 back rowers on the plane. Ryan Bard, Tom Curry, Josh Van der Fleer, Jack Morgan, Jack Conan, and Caelan Doris. So I need 1 more. I'm looking at that. We're kind of slightly heavy on 7s, so I put Jack Willis in there? Because Jack Willis, I know he's a 7, but he's also can cover 6.
I think you take Faletau.
Do you?
I do. 6, 8, I thought he was really impressive against Ireland. Like, a fully firing Toby Faletau is one hell of a player.
But then I might take Jamie Ritchie.
You've got. It's almost like we've got so many 7s.
Yeah.
That do you need? And Faletau can play obviously 8 and 6.
Yeah, go Faletau. He's got prior experience on Lions tours, and stick him in there.
And he adds some carry.
Yes. Right. Scrum-half, we need 3. We have 2 in Gibson Park and Thomas Williams.
Gibson Park, Thomas Williams, and the other that I would take or would say will get the nod, I'm going to go Alex Mitchell.
Lovely. Fly halves, we need 3. We have Finn Russell, Sam Prendergast, and Marcus Smith. So are you going Marcus Smith, or are you going to take a fast tracker?
No, I'm going to take Marcus Smith. So Russell, Prendergast and Marcus Smith.
Lovely. We want 6 centres, and we've pretty much got 6 because we've got Bundy Aki, Gary Ringrose, Cerny Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones, and then your departure lounge is Robbie Henshaw and Ollie Lawrence.
Yep. So for me, Henshaw and Ollie Lawrence board the flight.
Yes, and then on the plane, we wanted 7 back 3 players. We have James Lowe, Matt Hansen, Doom van der Merwe, Hugo Keenan, Blair Kinghorn, and you need 2 more. And in your departure lounge, you have Darcy Graham and Tommy Freeman. Are those 2 your 2 extras?
My 2 extras are Tommy Freeman and I'm going to fast track Manny Feo-Wabosu.
Wow.
I don't know his injury status. I know he's had a shoulder up, but he's my real late bolter out of nowhere, goes on the tour. So that leaves me with Lowe, Hansen, Dewey van der Merwe, Tommy Freeman, Manny Feo-Wabosu, Hugo Keenan and Blair Kinghorn.
Well, Ben, that... I would say it was a fun exercise. It was quite a challenging exercise.
It was actually hard, and it was only going to get harder the closer we get to that tour.
Yeah.
But
oh, yeah. And I say, you got so many good players, and it's just, we've just sort of picked it, not say without a lot of thought, but when you pick these squads, obviously, you pick not only good players, but good blokes that are good on tour. And that's just not a reflection.
Goes into it.
Exactly. A lot more thought than what we're doing here. Yeah. Yeah.
Picking it on the back of...
Correct.
3 rounds and some wild cards and a few lads that are out injured. But I hopefully you've enjoyed listening to it. And hopefully, I wonder how much different we've got to all our listeners.
Yeah, we've probably got it completely different to what a lot of the listeners think. So if they do fancy joining this debate, then they should leave us a comment on YouTube or indeed on Spotify.
Well, there we are, Carly. It was almost like a little warm-up before our live show at the Clapham Grand, when we're going to do our Lions draft. And you can join us. So there's still tickets available. So if you enjoyed that, it will be like that, but way better. So look out for that and get tickets. It's still available. And comment, like, subscribe, and thanks so much for listening.
And thanks to Brewdog, because every nation needs a black heart.
Yes, thanks to Brewdog, and we'll be back very soon with another podcast.